You know, is it not insane how so many things can go by so fast? I mean, you got summer vacation, then you got the amount of hours of sleep that you try to get from college, and how fast the NFL season goes. I mean, just the other day it was September, and now we're already in the midseason, and there is a lot to unpack in that time frame. Oh yeah, and in case you guys haven't heard, I'm back. I'm going to be rating every team's contention point from the midseason mark up to the playoffs. And starting off, we're going to go with Buffalo, who I gotta have as my playoff contenders. Now look, these guys look like they haven't lost a step from last season. Now, the defense does have some concerns, which lasted all offseason due to losing a lot of pieces. Despite that, along with the close games, Josh Allen is still proving to be that guy to lead the offense. Shockingly, he has only thrown 2 picks all season. Like, that is unheard of. If you were to tell anybody that he has only thrown 2 picks in the past 9 games all the way back in August, I would have called you crazy. And here we are, one of the front runners of the MVP conversation. And the next team that we have is Miami, which I needed no time to say that they are a bottom of the barrel team. And this is with or without Tua. Look, I'm not gonna lie, they are 2-7, and we didn't even hit December. Their season is cooked. Like, I don't know where the Dolphins can go off of from this season alone. Your only wins came from the Patriots and the Jags. And I get it, you're supposed to be able to beat bad teams, but you guys have lost to bad teams as well. It was almost like last season, Miami was an absolute powerhouse and they go up against teams that are under 500, but when they go up against a team over 500, they start to look fraudulent, which they are now more than ever. Alright, before I burst my bubble, let me move on to New England, which I have at the bottom of the barrel. But there is a silver lining here. Drake May is the future, and the Pats need to rebuild both sides of the ball from the ground. Also, other than benching Drake May for the beginning of the season, does anyone else not like Jeremiah? I mean, look, I'm no coach in any way, shape, or form, but I wouldn't throw my entire team under the bus and call him soft. I mean, gee, I wonder, almost like soft squad starts out with how they're coached. Almost like there's a clear distinction between Bill Belichick and Jared Mayo for how they run their teams. You guys are seeing what I'm saying, right? Alright, next up we got the other New York team, the New York Jets, who I'm about to put at borderline. Now look, for the Jets, I have no idea what's going on in the building, whether it's the coaching or the players. While trading for Devontae Adams is going to improve them in certain categories, that's not going to solve all your problems. And not only is your biggest issue the offensive line, now I got to worry about the defense after firing Robert Saleh, which I don't even know why you fired him in the first place. I mean, what can I say at this point? The Jets are going to jet. Alright, moving on, we got the Bengals, who I have as playoff contenders. Now look, I hate to say it, but these guys took a step back this season, especially their defense and some part of the coaching. But offensively, things have not changed and even improved in some areas. And had the Bengals won 2 or 3 games that they should not have lost to earlier in the season, Joe Burrow would be in the MVP conversation, without a doubt. I mean, the guy has been playing absolute perfect football, and he's aware that he has to play at that level in order for the Bengals to win games. I mean, I see them taking a wild card spot, but the defense needs to step up if they actually want to go far in the playoffs. And another defense that's been getting scored on early in the season is Baltimore. But you can throw all those concerns out the window because these guys are Super Bowl contenders. Look, now I get it, they lost to the Browns and they had a slow start, fantasy-wise. But as the season goes by, the Ravens have only gotten better and better. And look, Lamar is getting his 3rd MVP, let's be real here. If you don't have Lamar Jackson as your top MVP candidate, you're either a Bills fan, a Lions fan, or a person that just hates Lamar Jackson. Alright, the next team that we got is Pittsburgh, who I got as playoff contenders. And I really want to put these guys in Super Bowl contenders, but I just need to see more out of these guys, especially in the playoffs. I mean, the defense has been the best among the best, led by TJ Watt, and the offense has looked the best it's ever been in years. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Russell Wilson is back, aka Mr. Unlimited. Alright, moving on, we got the Cleveland Browns, who I got at scrappy. At their very best, they got the roster capable of beating contenders, but let's be real here, these guys were never winning with Watson under center. Every fan knows that, every team knows that, even some folks in the Browns organization knows that. And look, I get it, the season-ending injury, it sucks, but when he was healthy, he has not played a good game. Especially when you compare his stats compared to Jameis Winston and Joe Flacco on the sample size of games that they've played. But hey, there's always next year. Alright, the next team that we got is the Tennessee Titans, and they are a bottom of the barrel squad. I mean, the Titans have not looked good all season. The defense has been doing its job. It's the offense that's the problem. It is terrible at the very bottom of the league. I mean, you got Mailman, who's created more memes than actual touchdowns. At this point, just tank for Quinn Ewers or Carson Beck. It really can't get worse from here. I mean, it really can't. Alright, moving on, we got the Colts, which I gotta say they're scrappy. Now, I am surprised the offense has not made a jump in production from last season. And I mean, with the way AR is playing, he has been mediocre, and that's me letting him off easy. other than 60-yard bombs, he is inaccurate. I mean, I see him make throws that not a lot of other QBs can make, but at the same time, he has a hard time making throws that many QBs in the league can make. Look, I know he's a young talent and there's a lot of upside with this guy, but he has got to improve in a lot of areas if he wants to survive in the league. Next up, I have Houston, who I have as a borderline contender. Whew. I did not expect to put the Texans right here. I mean, who would have guessed that they would have been average this season? I mean, their record is great, but looking at the games that they've played, it's almost like they're having a down year. I mean, the O-line for the passing game has been abysmal, but I'm not going to say that CJ Stroud has been playing terrible. He's just not playing at the level he was on during his rookie year. And losing Stephon Diggs for the year and injuries to Nico Collins, that is just a big blow to the offense. I mean, the bright side is that they're probably going to win the AFC South, but there's going to be a clear distinction between them and other contenders in the playoffs. But overall, with the games that they have left, the Texans, you guys are officially on fraud watch. Alright, next up we got the Jags. Scrappy. Look, they have a competent roster to compete with the top contenders, but they need a change in the culture. Even the head coach has said it. Not only has the coaching staff been terrible, it's like Jacksonville is only good for one season, then the next 4 to 5, they're either below average or just straight up terrible. Just straight up buns. Alright, next up we got the Chiefs. Super Bowl contenders. Only two things I gotta say: defense and outside sources. No explanation needed. Alright, next up is the Chargers. Now, these guys are playoff contenders. Similar to their brother team in Baltimore, the Chargers had a new offensive system that they needed time to adjust to. But the defense? The ball don't lie, it's legit. Under 110 points in the past 9 weeks. I mean, these guys are on par with the Steelers. Their offense doesn't have to throw for over 300 yards every game, and they can win games by a sizable gap too? Like, this is unheard of. Jim Harbaugh, this guy, this man, this dude has changed the culture that the Chargers needed for years. And I'm all for it. Alright, the next team we have is the Raiders. Yeah, these guys are going all the way to the bottom of the barrel. Look, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if they just started flat out tanking for a QB or potentially trading for one that needs a fresh start. But yeah, their season is over. Denver, on the other hand, call me crazy, but they're borderline. Now, no one's really talking about them a lot, but Denver has been playing good football, apart from the Ravens dropping 40 on them. Yeah, that alone is the reason why they're one tier down. Along with Bo Nix. I mean, there's just times where Bo Nix looks like an NFL-ready quarterback straight out of college, but there are just times where he just makes the goofiest decisions. But hey, if you can learn from those mistakes as a rookie, Denver has a promising future. Moving on to the NFC East, we got the Cowboys, who, I'm gonna keep it a buck. These guys are at the bottom of the barrel. Matter of fact, these guys are barnacles. Straight up barnacles. Yeah, these guys are getting their own special badge. It's the same thing with these guys every single year. And there'll be plenty more to give out. Like, bro. Alright, now for the other New York team, the New York Giants. Yeah, these guys are scrappy. Okay, look, the Daniel Jones experiment has not been working. I mean, what was this front office thinking of paying this man a boatload for what he's done the past 2 years? I mean, the defense has been playing fantastic, and they finally have a wide receiver 1 in Malik Neighbors. Now might be the good time to start looking for quarterback prospects in 2025. And considering how well that's worked out for their divisional rival in the Commanders, now, these guys are playoff contenders. These guys finally have a quarterback since RG3, and Scary Terry finally has a quarterback. I mean, have you seen this dude's QB list? Like, oh my gosh. Now, the defense could use some work, but it'll improve in this new system. Next up, we got the Eagles, who are playoff contenders. Now, in all honesty, the game against the Bengals sealed their position to be up here. Now, despite having a slow start, the Eagles have changed my expectations as the weeks go by. My only issue, give Saquon more touches inside the 10. Do you know how many times Jalen Hurts' 1-yard rushing touchdown screwed me in fantasy? I don't got a number, but how many times I play that QB sneak? A lot. Alright, next up we got the NFC North, who I got the Packers, Vikings, and Lions as my Super Bowl contenders. And yes, I'm putting Green Bay up here. They all got top tier QBs, elite pass catchers to create the best offenses in the league that goes well with their dominant defenses. And until I see Chicago put a consistent offense with the roster that they have on paper, these guys are scrappy. Yeah, I am not forgetting the last 2 games that they have performed in. The Bears should not be playing this bad, but realistically, they're the Bears. Oh yeah, side note, the Lions are the best team in the NFC, and it's not even close. Anybody that they face, it's going to be a dogfight. Moving down to the NFC South, where it's anything but a dogfight, where the Saints are at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, wow, how good were those Saints in the first 2 weeks? Because these guys really did a complete 180 on their overall performance. I mean, you guys went on a 7-game losing streak. 7. Somehow, you guys managed to lose to the Panthers. Okay, at the time I was recording this, I just found out Dennis Allen got fired. I mean, we were all expecting this guy to head out the door for how he's been coaching the past 3 seasons. But one word to describe the Saints? Terrible. Moving on to the Bucks, these guys are borderline contenders. Now, look, when they're healthy, these guys are on par with teams like the Lions, having actually beat Detroit. But their defense has to step up big time for the rest of the season, especially now after losing Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Alright, moving on, we got the Falcons. Yeah, these guys are playoff contenders. Yeah, them Dirty Birds finally realized they have offensive weapons they can use at their disposal. And we're witnessing something special in Atlanta, something we haven't seen since the Matty Ice Julio Jones days. I still hope they get a pass rusher, but I got Atlanta taking over the NFC South. Next up, we got the Panthers. Bottom of the barrel, just like their organization. Alright, next up is the 49ers, who are playoff contenders. And okay, look, this is not the same squad in recent years, and I can't put them in Super Bowl contenders with the record they've had, and with Brandon Ayuk out for the rest of the season, their chances of making the Super Bowl is gonna be a lot harder. I mean, these guys are just unlucky. Next up, we got the Cardinals, who are scrappy. Now, Arizona finally has a wide receiver 1 that Murray can throw to, but this team is still in the rebuilding phase. There's going to be games they'll play where they can go on par with contenders, but at the same time, they're going to play games where they can't get anything moving. Just keep a close eye on these guys. Moving on, we got Seattle, who are a borderline squad, and I've heard this excuse so many times from Seahawks fans.
Our players are injured. Every single game, the refs are against us.
Guess what? Every other team is dealing with injuries and the Chiefs. Like, quit your whining already. That's not going to deny the Seahawks have been playing bad football lately. They went from 3-0 to now 4-5, last in the division. Like, it wouldn't hurt for you guys to show some consistency that does good for you guys, and not for others. And moving on to the last team, we got the Rams, who are playoff contenders. We got the deepest wide receiver core, and that's not even close, top 10 O-line when we're healthy, and while our young defense needs work, they have been improving in the last couple of weeks. And as the weeks go by, we are going to be a dark horse. And that's gonna wrap up my NFL mid-season rankings. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on IG and Twitter. Make sure you guys sub to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!